There are two ways to bring audio into Photoshop. You can follow the standard method, which is to open up the Add Audio Clips dialog box, but you'll find out that you have limited audio file type options there. The main file type that you can use there is MP3, but you won't see any options for using typical file types that you'd find in Mac, for example, like an AIF or an MOV audio-only file, and you won't find the Windows WAV file, all very common file types. So what do? Well, you take the backdoor other method approach to bring audio into Photoshop. You bring audio in as a video clip. So I'm going to show you both methods in this lesson. And for this lesson, I created 4 files that I put inside this folder. These won't be available in the working files assets. I just want to show you some examples. Since these are not officially supported by Photoshop, I didn't want to provide them and possibly confuse things, but I did create some here so I can show you some examples of how to bring them in. What I have here are an AIF file, 2 MOV files, and a WAV file. Now, one of these MOV files, this QuickTime MOV file, is audio only, and this one is audio and video. And so there's a difference in terms of how Photoshop deals with these two. So this will be sort of a demonstration and also something you can follow along with using the assets that I have provided. So to do that, let's just open up Photoshop here. Make sure you're inside the motion workspace and notice something here. You've got the timeline already open, but there's only a video track. There is no audio track. To get an audio track, you have to bring in some video first. So click on this little plus sign here and go get a few video files by going to the desktop, in my case, going to the working files folder, the digital juice stock footage folder, and bringing in, let's say, the first 3 clips here, clicking on one and shift clicking on the third and bringing those 3 in. When you do that, you get those 3 clips here inside the video track, and you've got a new audio track here. And now we're going to add some audio to the audio track. And the standard way to do that is to click the plus sign here. You can also click over here and then click on Add Audio, but that's one additional step here. So it's easy just to click on the plus sign. That opens up the Add Audio Clips dialog box, which is the standard way to bring audio in. And down here it says Files of Type All Formats. Well, it's not really all formats per se in that it shows all file types. It just shows video and audio formats that are compatible with Photoshop. If you look at the audio formats, the familiar ones for you probably will be MP3 and perhaps AAC, maybe WMA, which is Windows Media Audio, and then these other guys might not be as familiar to you. What's missing are AIF, WAV, and MOV. Yet down here on the video side, you do have MOV, but it's looking for a video file typically when you look down here. But you can open up either audio or video files as audio files. It's kind of an interesting thing. Let's just do the standard thing first, and get an audio-only file. So I'm going to back up one notch here, go to the other assets. I've got 3 MP3 files here. I'm going to open up the first one just by double clicking it, and here it is now in the audio track. These first 2 clips are kind of loud, so I'll play it over here. There you go. That's the standard way to bring in audio. Notice that it does not show up over here in the layers panel. It's just kind of its own little world here down at the bottom of the timeline. Let's click on the plus sign here, go back to the desktop, and open up this audio file examples folder, and look what happens. Now we know there are 4 files there, but only 2 show up because these 2 are in that list of all formats. Those other ones are not in the list. The other ones are AIF and WAV, and they don't show up here. So if I open up, let's say, this Music 1 MOV, double click on that, that'll come in as an audio file here in this audio track off to the right here. There it is. There you go. So that comes in just fine. And I can go back and get that other MOV file as well, and it'll come in as audio only. It won't come in as a video file. If I go over here and click the plus sign again and select one of those video files, go back to the desktop, go to the working files folder, go to the digital juice stock footage, where these guys have some audio associated with them. I'll select this first one. It'll be audio only when I bring that in. It'll be at the very end here, like that. You can also create a new track like this. Go over here, add a new audio track, and that one's selected. Click on its plus sign. You can add audio this way. You can bring in audio only from a video file if you do it this approach. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you just want the audio from a video file. For example, some people use their camcorders to record narrations. They don't want the video part, they just want the audio part. So this is one way to bring it in. Okay, neither of these approaches are really what I would call the backdoor approaches, but how do we bring in the AIF and the WAV files? Well, we need to kind of do that backdoor thing. And the way you do that is by putting them in a video track. So let's make a new video track here by clicking this little drop-down arrow and selecting New Video Group, and we're going to work up here. Now remember, the AIF and the WAV files are not compatible. They're not in the list of compatible file types, yet we can still bring them in. Click on this little plus sign here. I'm going to go back to those files that I created just for this exercise, going to the audio file examples folder, and now they'll show up when I change the files of type from the one that's listed here, which is typically the first one at the top of the list. Go down to the bottom, All formats this time means all file types. Even though it's all formats, it means all file types will now show up. And there they all are, AIF and WAV, the ones that weren't showing up before. Now, if your system can play AIF or WAV files, then it should be able to play them inside Photoshop. I can't guarantee it, but it should work. So I'm going to double click on Music 1 AIF. That'll add it to the video track. It adds it to the video track and puts it here inside the layers panel as if it were a video file. I'm going to delete these guys down here to get rid of them so we don't have any audio kind of stepping all over each other. Go down here a little ways and get that one track down there so we can hear things. Now we're going to hear this clip up here. So you can bring in a non-supported audio file as a video file, and it works the same way. I go to the right here, I can get this flyout menu. I can control the audio over here the same way I would control audio on any other video file. Let's just go back and check out the other file type as well. Click on you and delete you. So click on the plus sign here, and then we'll double click on Music 1 WAV and see if that one comes on all right. And there it is, lo and behold. So you'll probably experience no problems working with non-supported audio files if you bring them in as video files and you choose the all formats option when you bring them in. And you can also work with MOV audio only files and bring them in as audio files, just as long as you have the all formats selected for that process as well.